Why are you telling us the truth?
Because you don't know the truth.
You drink what?
It's blood.
This is 20-year-old Pablo Lucio Vasquez, who is confessing to the gory details of his gruesome murder of a 12-year-old boy.
We went back to the house to see, because there was a lot of blood thrown there, and I got the water boots to wash it.
What makes this case so disturbing is not just the horrible things he did, but what compelled him in the first place.
What was your reason for trying to cut off his head?
They go through my head, telling me you did it properly, doing the same thing. Go ahead, keep doing it, keep doing it. They tell me keep again, keep this up, keep doing it.
But these gruesome details are just the tip of the iceberg. And by the end of this video, you are going to realize why Pablo became the 11th person in the history of the United States to be sentenced to death by lethal injection. In the early hours of April 18, 1998, Pablo went to a party in Donna, Texas with his 15-year-old cousin, Andres Rafael Andy Chapa. At this party was also their other cousin, 12-year-old David Cardenas. After Pablo and Andy got to the party, where they got drunk and high, well, let's just hear it from the horse's mouth.
Okay, Pablo, can you tell us what occurred? I want you to start since Friday.
Friday the 17th of April, me, Andy, and David went to a party, and we were looking for some weed, and we got invited to that party. So first we had our dog, we walked in the dog, and then we got there, and so they asked us if we could come back. So we did, we took the dog home and came back. And when we were there, they asked us to work it, so we started drinking beer. And we stayed there for at least 2 or 3 hours until it was over.
What time did you get there?
Like 9, 8, 9. First it was early in the daytime. It was basically, and then we got back, we took off. I came back, and me and Andy and David came back, and they said we wanted to drink, so I got a beer that I was drinking. The beer finished, so they passed a bottle of liquor, and I was drinking liquor. And I remember by the time I was really buzzing.
What type of liquor?
I don't know if it was Presidente. Because it was strong, they poured a lot into mine. And I was really feeling drunk. So somebody smoked weed in there, so I started smoking some too. And I did Dossier and everything.
You did what?
Coke. I did some. Yeah, I was really loaded. Then after we decided, because the party was finishing, somebody gave us a ride. And
what time did you guys go home?
It was about 12. It was really like going to be Saturday morning at night. It was the daytime. I didn't know where that little guy was going to go. He took off.
What little guy?
David. I don't know what is he going to do, so he followed us. He went with us. They gave us a ride to the house.
Pablo insists that they were extremely intoxicated at the party when they unexpectedly ran into their cousin, who was also there. The details surrounding how exactly a 12-year-old boy ended up driving Pablo and Andy home are murky at best. But for now, let's stick to Pablo's version of events. From there, David took them to his mom's house, which for clarity is actually the home of Pablo and Andy's aunt. What happens next unfolds at an alarming pace, not just in terms of speed, but in the sheer intensity of the events that follow.
And after we were there, he went to the back, I went inside, and when I came to the back, and I told Andy, what's up with the plan? And he said, I don't know, he's willing to wait in the back. And I don't know, did it back there, and blacked out. I started hearing voices in my head, and I told my cousin that somebody told me to kill him. So I snuck up on him, and I hit him, and he fell down.
What'd you hit him with?
The pipe.
Where'd you get the pipe at?
It was on the floor, like where he was at. And he looked at me at first, but then Andy looked at me too, and like he just didn't have my feelings or nothing.
Did Andy try to stop you before you hit him?
No. Well, he didn't say nothing. He just looked at it like he felt something was wrong with him. So I hit him. And
Where'd you hit him at?
He was hit somewhere here.
What was he doing when you hit him behind the head?
Just looking at him. And then he said something, I don't know. And I hit him like 3 or 4 times. And he was right there. He was still alive.
When you hit him 3 or 4 times, where did you hit him at?
He was still alive. And he told me, you killed him. And I go, no, he's not dead. He's still alive. So I went inside, and Andy was getting everything and stuff ready. So I told him we were in the burial. And he said, yeah. And I got him, and we took him. And Andy had the shovel.
Okay, you went inside for what?
Huh?
What'd you go inside for?
I just went inside to go check inside. Like, if anybody had heard anything.
Was anybody awake?
Yeah. And like, nobody was awake.
The way things escalated so suddenly makes it almost feel as if the devil himself truly did tell him to do it. Of course, there is a chance that the mix of drugs and alcohol clouded his judgment, stripping away his self-awareness and basic humanity. But there are still so many unanswered questions. If his intention was to kill without reason, why not Andy? Why not a random stranger at the party? Why did it have to be the cousin, the one who selflessly offered them a ride home when they were clearly intoxicated? Now, on the surface, this might seem like a textbook case of not guilty by reason of insanity. But by the end, we're going to show you exactly why that's not the case. At this point, Pablo has already confessed to knocking his cousin unconscious with a pipe, an act that alone didn't end his life. But what he admits to next is what ultimately sealed David's fate.
So we came back outside, and my cousin had a knife in his pocket.
Your cousin who?
Andy.
Okay.
And I saw him, and I got the knife, and I cut his throat. And then he was still like talking and stuff. When I picked him up, I just put him on my shoulder like that, and I carried him, and I threw him on the floor because he was too heavy, and I dragged him from my hand. I picked him up, I grabbed him, and he was still saying something, and I picked him up in the air, and the blood was dripping, and he got all over my face. So I don't know, and something just going juke, like until we drink the water, and
You drink what?
his blood, and I don't know, and my face was cleaner with his blood, and I put him down because I felt weird. I don't know. And then my cousin said he's still mad or something like that. And I took him across the road, like what was that name? In the area where they found him.
Okay.
And he was saying something, and my cousin got to show him, and hit him like 5 or 6 times in the face. And all I knew was that he actually really.
When you hit him on the face, what was the guy saying? What was David saying?
He was saying something. I don't know. He was mumbling something.
Any words that you can remember?
He was just saying I don't know if he said dope or something, but he was saying something. But I seen his blood gushing out everywhere, and I panicked, so I just put him back there. So we took him back there, and we started digging the hole. And the dirt was too hard, so we just dug a little tiny hole, and I put him there. And by the time I knew it, I was just finding stuff to cover him up with, and we covered him, and I put grass and pieces of wood on it. And by the time I realized, I took off his ring, but I lost it somewhere right there, and his chain was busted. I threw that away.
Among the many chilling names associated with this case, one stands out: Pablo the Vampire Killer. He earned this name after drinking David's blood, even describing it as cold, a detail eerily reflective of his own emotional detachment throughout his confession. After claiming that the devil commanded him to kill David and drink his blood, Pablo attempted to cover his tracks in the most careless way imaginable. In reality, though, even if he hadn't come forward with his confession, the evidence against him would have been overwhelming.
And from then on, we walked to Randy's house, and I took a shower, and my cousin got the clothes that was full of blood, because I was
Your cousin who?
Andy.
Okay.
He got the boxers that I was wearing were covered with blood, and he told his mom that it was cooling or something like that. And
His mom was awake?
no, she wasn't. In the morning, they asked us, well, why are you doing so late, coming home so late? Well, we were drunk. And he asked his dad the next morning, and the next morning I woke up, I realized that I had done something bad, and my bro got you. And I just wanted to get out of it. And I waited all day there, just thinking about what I had done. And so I wanted to kill myself too, because I told my cousin Andy, I looked at him, I feel like killing myself because I did something wrong. And he looked at me and he goes, oh no, don't do that. And after that, I told him I want to leave. I want to leave because they find out they're going to kill me no matter what. After they say this, and my cousin goes, no, because no, don't go and all this shit. And I told him, I have to leave. We could have done it, man. I got both of us in trouble with them. anything. And he said, yeah. So that day passed. The next night, that's when I saw my uncle and I had.
The next night being when?
Saturday was already Saturday morning. Then Saturday night, I told my uncle that I was leaving because
Your uncle who?
my uncle, Andy's dad, Chuck. And I told him that because I had did something bad, and he goes, man, he got mad at me for doing that.
What exactly did you tell him?
I had done something bad that I had hurt some kid really bad.
And who'd you tell this to?
My uncle,
What's your uncle's name?
John.
John?
Yeah. One. Yeah.
So you told him Saturday night that you had done something bad?
Yeah. But then
Did you show him the chain?
Yeah, I showed him the chain. I said, look, this is what I took away from him, but I threw it away at the same time. That same night I threw it. I don't remember because I was in the car. I threw it and touched it.
You were in the car going?
Well, I stayed there until the next morning, right? And then I asked my uncle if I could go back to Houston. And he said, well, I don't want no trouble. And I was like, no. But I was just thinking, man, I don't know, because everything that I did, I got back to me.
What did you do with his sandals?
Well, the sandals, that same day, they told me that, what'd you do today? What'd you do today?
Who told you?
My cousin told me, man, you guys did something together.
What cousin?
My cousin Jeremy.
Jeremy what?
Chapa. He asked me, where's Derek? Where's Derek? I go, I don't know, I think he went home. But I was lying to him. And me and my cousin, we knew it, that we had killed him.
Not only was their attempt at a cover-up poorly executed, but also members of Pablo's own family immediately sensed that something was wrong. After opening up to his cousins and uncles, his fate was sealed when his cousin, Maggie Salinas, contacted the police. She directly implicated Pablo in the crime and revealed his location. And that's how he ended up in this very room, calmly confessing to his atrocities without a trace of sorrow or remorse in his cold, dead heart.
What did you do with the sandals?
I got some glue from the PCP pipe, from the PCP pipe. I poured it on there, and I told my cousin to leave. My cousin Jeremy to leave, because he's the one that found them. He goes, who's the these? Who's the these? And I said, well, those are mine. So I got them, and I put some of that stuff on, and I did it. And we got up, and I stayed there until they melted. And then I took it home, put that over.
You lit it on fire?
Yeah.
What about the sweater? What was he wearing, David?
Like certain, I don't know where it came up. Because I dragged them from the shirt too, for a little while.
The sandals were very short?
They're melted down. I melted them. They melted right beside where the dog was. You know how the sidewalk and the trees right here, where the dog was tied?
Mm-hmm.
And you go like a little bit into the sidewalk ends right there at the corner. There should be ashes right there, plastic stuff right down the bottom. It's right there. The evidence of that. From then on, I took out taking and shit. I dumped up the bag.
Yeah.
Like,
Who stabbed him in the stomach?
my cousin, when we were right there after, he had with the show, he had a little knife. Because he was,
Who poked him?
my cousin had poked him in the stomach just once. Yeah. Like, the neck was full of blood too. The neck one, and he washed it.
Okay. Did you guys cut off any parts of the body?
But just that I found a piece of bone when we went back to the house. We went back to the house to see, because there was a lot of blood thrown there, and I got the water hose to wash it, and it didn't want to come up. And I go, damn, I just freaked out. Like, they asked me, what did you guys do? What did you guys do? I said that we killed a possum, and then we grabbed it.
Who asked you?
My cousin, Jeremy, asked me, what do we do? And I said, I grabbed the possum, and my cousin Jennifer asked me too, what do we do? I said that I killed a possum, and that it was trying to bite the dog. My cousin Andy told that to them. That I got it in the town and turned it around like that. That's why all the blood was thrown all over the place. But actually, that's when I picked him up, like that on my shoulder, and I turned him around like that, and that's when all the blood splattered around, and he was still talking.
What was he saying?
But I couldn't understand because he was choking on some blood, and I had him upside down. His back was under like this, his stomach was like that, and his arm was just hanging down.
Who cut off his leg and his foot?
Nobody did. It's probably an animal that smelled him or something. Cause I don't know if my cousin hit him with the shovel all over, but all I know is that I just remember hitting him with the pipe and cutting him.
To grasp the full horror of this case, consider this. Pablo claims that he mutilated David while he was still alive. By the time that it was over, David was murmuring unintelligible words as Pablo carried out what he believed to be the devil's orders. According to the autopsy, David's official cause of death was a massive skull fracture caused by blunt force trauma. His body showed signs of extreme mutilation, with shattered bones pointing to a method of destruction far beyond just a single blow. Fearing that David might still be alive, his cousin Andy delivered a final grotesque act, striking him in the face with a shovel. This is the level of depravity that defined David's final moments, one of unimaginable suffering at the hands of two people that he once considered family.
But the rest of it,
When you guys were at the trying to bury him, did you see your cousin do anything to him?
well, he was just freaking out on him, like, man, we killed him. He was just telling me, man, we killed him. And I go, I know if we get busted, we're going to go talk for it. I go, I know that. I feel sorry for him because first place he should have never been with him. We should have never even been with him. I was kind of messed up. Ever since a long time already. He got messed up things. My mom was being a jump and I couldn't see her or nothing. Because I was wanting another town for some other things.
What things?
Like, because some guy, they wanted to fight me all the time. They want to fight me. They like put me in prison. Like, they made me go steal for them and stuff and take the rap for them. And I didn't want that shit to win. And they're always saying they're all relaxed and all this shit. Man, they were trying to pull me down bad.
In Florida? Did you kill anybody in California?
No.
You had no trouble in California?
No, maybe because I stole a gun or whatever.
You stole a gun?
Did you use it?
Huh?
Did you use it on anybody?
Somebody tried to use it on me, so I took it.
Okay, going back to when you hit him in the back of the head, you didn't think
The piece of bone popped out. That's when we went back
from where?
from the back, somewhere right there. And I saw it on the mattress. I left everything where it was, but I picked that piece of bone up. I remember now, and I put it in my pocket. And the next morning when I woke up, it was there. My cousin Andy got it and left it on the Twitter. That's when he got all my cousins doing it because my pant was all torn like that. Where he had grabbed me. That guy had grabbed me and like, boom. I freaked up. And she just, a lot of shit happened and I can't.
Did he fight you back after you hit him with a pipe?
No, he stayed like 20 or something. They didn't know what's going on, but he was trying to say something.
Where did you guys throw the clothes at?
Who's close? My clothes? And the trash man came the next morning, I think, or Sunday, or the Monday after that, because he put it up front. I couldn't walk because my leg was messed up, and they had to help me. Because when I jumped, because we took off running after that, we just walked off the front of the house. After we did all that, and we walked back to the, where this 183 is at, where Andy's mom's staying. His name's Jeff. He has a car lot like that. And we walked back to there and we jumped the attic to the back. I couldn't walk that bit. And Andy had to help me walk all the way back. And he was telling me just watch out and talk. We did. And then I started for killing that little guy. If I had a chance to go back in time, I would never done it.
The autopsy says that someone, we don't know who, cut a piece of his back off. And there was a knife. How did
There was a move probably. But I don't think I did that. I think when we dragged him, because we dragged him on the cement, maybe the cement scraped his back.
There was a nice cut all the way across his back, like a knife, or like somebody took a knife to his back and cut it, like cut it off.
We were trying to cut off his head. They were trying to cut off his head to show. Kept hitting him and hitting him.
Who was?
Me and I did, because we were trying just to take it off.
What was your reason for trying to cut off his head?
And the devil was telling me to take it away from him.
Who was?
The devil was telling me to take it away from him, to keep it, and it couldn't come off. I was just freaking out because I was hearing that.
And what about Andy? What was he hearing?
I don't know, he was just like, he was just like going with it too, I guess.
Did Andy drink blood?
No, he threw up. He just saw me doing it. I told him, if you're going to do that, you're I told him, he was telling me to do it. And he just went along. when we did it.
Have you gone back? Did you go back the next day on Saturday to go see him?
No, I didn't go back.
You never went back after that night?
What about Andy? Did he ever go back?
I don't think so. I didn't. Man,
How many times do you think you hit him on the neck, trying to cut his head off?
3 or 4 times.
What about Andy?
A couple more times too, but he couldn't come on. He didn't want to come on.
Which shovel were you using? A big shovel?
It
Or
was just that blue one that you guys found.
how big is it?
It was like, see, it's like that, and then it's cutting like this, and it's like that. That was the one that we used. That's the only shovel that we took.
And that's the one that Andy used to.
Hit him in the face when,
How many times?
like 4 or 5 times, just hit him. The guy, he kept shaking, and he kept saying to them, and he said, "Motherfucker, shut up." And
Who said that?
my friend said, "Daddy," he kept hitting him, and I just looked and I go, yeah, we just, like, we didn't feel nothing at the time because we were all fucked up. We were both lost, and we were up.
The gruesome details of this case continue to haunt investigators, not just because of the horrific crime itself, but because of how the body was found. David Cardenas was discovered missing an arm, with no skin on his back, and a gaping hole in the back of his head. This is why the authorities meticulously examined every aspect of the crime and its sloppy cover-up to determine exactly who was responsible for each act of brutality. At this point, Pablo provides detectives with a disturbing glimpse into his fractured mind, revealing that he had long struggled with thoughts of self-harm.
At that point, when you guys were hitting him, did he still have his white shirt on?
I don't think so. I think it fell off
Where at?
because I pulled him and it came up and I just threw it. I don't remember. So I just picked him up like that and threw him on my floor and I carried him to a room.
How did you guys pick out the spot?
I just walked over there. I don't know. I just walked him. And man, just put him there. We put him there. We started digging and I couldn't do it anymore because it was messy. I was sweating out the blood and like I was realizing I had done something messed up. And I still kept hearing that weird feeling, just like, I don't know. Like one time in my head telling me you did it wrong, you did it wrong, the same time, go ahead, keep doing it. They telling me kill him again, keep this around, keep doing it. Kill him.
Have you ever felt like that before?
Yeah, when I was gonna kill myself one time.
How long ago was this?
Before I came from California.
How long ago was this?
Like 2 days before Christmas. But I got here on, I was on the bus right here on Christmas. And I was here on New Year's Day.
Had you been drinking when you heard that the first time in December?
So there was some other drug that they have out there called methamphetamine.
Where is this at, in California?
Yeah.
And
I got addicted. Man, actually like addicted, but I stayed up for 2 whole weeks without sleep. And I was dressed in black and it was the middle of the night and I tried to come with you and I tied a rope on it and I put a rope on my neck and my uncle was calling me and I told him that I couldn't get down because somebody told me to jump and if I jumped, the rope was going to take me.
what's your uncle's name?
My uncle, Guero,
What's his name?
I don't know his full name, but
Where's this at?
California.
What part of California?
Tulare County, Visalia.
Is that where he lives at, in Visalia?
Yeah. But he was figuring out of me too, but he had to come up to try and get me done. Because the whole people,
Did he call the police?
he just told me, like, man, he was not to, he was talking me out of it. He talked me out of it. And he kept talking to me and I started listening to him. I couldn't sleep, and then when my aunt was there and my little cousin, I saw people walking around. People just walking.
Going back to that thing that happened here in Donna. When did you tell your Uncle Juan what you had actually done, that you had killed someone? When did you tell him?
Like, it was like already gonna be Sunday morning that one night. Because I was telling him because I felt really bad.
Who were you telling?
Huh?
Who were you telling?
I told her like, well, I took this away from that guy. And
But who did you tell?
Uncle Juan,
And who else?
just him. And my aunt called when I was up in Conroe. She said that I was on TV or something that they were watching me and everything. And she goes, what did you do? And I told her, what did you do? And I go, the devil told me to do it. The devil told me to kill him. And she I'm gonna call you back in 10 minutes. She didn't call me back. My other cousin called me, and he just hung up on me. And like 30 minutes later, I was cooked up. And they were saying, "Are you Pablo Vasquez?" Yeah. And I lay down on the ground, and they just hung up and got me up.
Did you ever tell Arnulfo or anything?
No.
Did you ever tell him it was a tacuache?
I just said that I told my uncle that I would kill the tacuache.
What uncle?
My uncle Juan. And he told me, I think you killed somebody. He told me, no, you didn't kill somebody. He kept telling me. And then I said, I just nodded my head that by the time I killed him, I just said, and then I got the tin and showed it to him.
Did he ask you where you guys had taken the body?
Yeah.
And what'd you tell him?
I told him, me and Andy were buried and he was where and we did to him. I just told him, come over with him.
When you were telling him, you were just telling your Tio Juan? Or was there anybody else with him?
Nobody was there, just me and Andy.
So you told him Saturday night?
Yeah, it was almost like 1.
Was the blood still? Was the blood still at that place?
No, because they had asked me, what you guys do?
Who asked you?
My aunt,
Your aunt too?
Nancy,
Uh-huh.
she said, what you guys do? I want to see that over there. And I guess he's at his house. I don't know. I didn't see him. And I was lying to her when I knew that we had done something.
There's a very chilling pattern at play here. Whenever Pablo is under the influence, it seems as though something dark takes hold of him. He recalled his first attempt at self-harm happening around Christmas, a time when he was also using methamphetamine. He may blame the quote-unquote devil for his actions, but the reality is far simpler. He got drunk, he became uncontrollable, and committed the unthinkable. Yet the question remains, why David?
Did Danny ever give you a reason for you to do this?
Who?
Danny never gave you a reason? David? The little boy you referred to, David?
No, he was just like, angel, man.
He was like a little what?
A little angel. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's what told me to take me away from everybody.
So when you hit him behind the head, he was looking at you, or was he looking down?
He was looking, because he was standing up. He was looking like that, and he said something, and I go, no, I'm sorry. And I just said,
Well, do you know what he said to you?
He said, if you have papers
What do you mean papers?
to roll,
To roll a joint?
Yeah.
So he had marijuana or what?
yeah, he was the one that bought it.
So was he standing up or sitting down when you hit him?
He was like this, because there was the wall,
Right.
and he was like this,
Okay.
and he got up, he goes, right when he got up, he looked at me, and he said, you have papers? And I said, I'm sorry, I just hit him. He said, no, but he just feel like, no, and I thought, damn.
So when you hit him the first time, he kept saying no?
No, he just said like no, and then I told him I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I kept telling him that I was sorry for him. I just hit him. I hit him like 3 times.
Did David have hair on him?
No, I just hit him.
Okay, did David have hair?
Yeah.
Or was he bald?
Oh yeah, hair.
Was it long hair or short hair?
Like he had it combed back like this. A little bit short. No,
Did you all cut off the hair?
no, I think just when like we dragged him down a little bit in the scene, I think parts of his hair or some animal that got to him or something. Maybe. Or,
Is there anything else you want to say about what happened?
sorry for doing all that, I'm sure and I need some help with him.
Was Andy drunk?
We were both drunk, we wasn't, they were stoned. We were doing, I did some coke that one.
Do you think you did it because you were drunk?
Yeah. I didn't think about it.
But you thought about going and burying him, and you thought about dragging him across the street, and you thought about cutting his neck,
Yeah, but it, you see,
and you thought about burning his tennis shoes and his sandals and burying them?
the next day, I thought that, cause I was shit.
No, but during this happened, you said you did it because you were drunk, but you thought about all these things to do to try to cover up yourself.
Yeah.
So you weren't that drunk, right?
No, I was drunk, sir. So I started thinking like, man, if I that, they're gonna know me bad. They're still gonna know me. So I just didn't put anybody else with it like that under situation.
Why are you telling us the truth?
Because you guys want to know the truth, and I don't want to have that inside me all along. Because I know the truth, but I don't want to be like, constantly thinking about it because it's gonna drive me crazy, and I'll end up killing myself.
Did any one of us force you to say what you said?
No, sir, I told you because you guys want to know.
On May 27, 1998, a Hidalgo County grand jury indicted Pablo Vasquez for the capital murder of David Cardenas, a crime committed during the course of a robbery. One of Vasquez's own cousins testified that he admitted to killing Cardenas because he, and I'm quoting here, did not give Vasquez what he wanted. Less than a year later, on February 9, 1999, a jury found Vasquez guilty of capital murder. After a separate sentencing phase, he was sentenced to death on March 10, 1999. But the brutality of David's murder wasn't the only violent act linked to Vasquez. During the sentencing phase, the prosecution presented a disturbing pattern of violence. That same year, Vasquez had stabbed a man in the arm with a knife in an aggravated assault and attacked a fellow inmate so severely while in custody that the victim had to be hospitalized. Despite his history of violence, Vasquez filed numerous appeals to overturn his death sentence. His argument? That his defense never claimed that he was legally insane at the time of the crime. An ironic omission given the disturbing nature of his confession. But at that point, it was too late. After nearly 2 decades of legal battles, justice finally caught up with him. On December 4th, 2015, after 15 years of failed appeals, the state trial court issued an order setting Vasquez's execution date for April 6th, 2016. On that April day in 2016, Pablo became just the 11th person in the history of the United States to be executed by lethal injection. Now, if you think this case was horrific, you need to check out my video on the cannibal slaughterhouse.